AIM-listed Solo Oil has realised its interest in the Horse Hill, Portland and Kimmeridge oil discoveries and pocketed 4.5 million sterling in the process. At the same time, it bought the equivalent number of shares in UK Oil and Gas to take Solo's interest in that company up to 4.2%. Solo still has its interest in the Rovuma Tanzanian gas project. MD is Dan Mailing at Solo Oil. So I'm interested in this deal because what you've done is you've sold out your interest, and as I said, you bought the equivalent number of shares in a company that owns an interest in Horse Hill. Correct,
and Jeremy, good to see you again. And look, the strategy here with Solo as an investment company, we need to move these projects forward or investments forward to close to a point of monetisation. So previously we've been investing in the Horse Hill Development's private structure since 2014, a total of around £3 million since then, and we've now swapped that interest out for an interest in UK Oil and Gas, who are effectively the operator and the main owner in the project as well.
Why though? Why this? What's the reasoning behind it?
Look, this for us, it really limits our exposure to future cash call commitments at the project level, and also for me as an investment manager and interest in the business, it demonstrates that we can still leverage the exposure to the project in a structure that is actually more leveraged to that exposure. UK Oil and Gas is one of the more liquid, well followed stocks on AIM, primarily because of its interest in this project.
Yeah. Where does UK Oil and Gas go with this project now? Investors in Solo Oil obviously have an interest in this. Yeah. UK Oil and Gas investors, of course, likewise. What about the Kimmeridge play?
Look, the Kimmeridge play is something that was discovered on a meaningful scale by the Horse Hill Group a couple of years ago now, and this well testing program that we've got, which is going over 150 days, is in the process of testing and hopefully declaring commerciality on the Portland producing section in the next sort of week or two, and then we move into the Kimmeridge play, which is a wider world basin play, which UK Oil and Gas also has exposure through other licences in the UK through.
I want to talk as well about, very briefly, about some of your other projects on the go at the moment, because with interest as well in Tanzania and the Rovuma Basin. This is operated by Aminex, isn't it? How's that going in terms of as an investment?
Look, well, in terms of in investment, we've been involved in this for several years as well, and it's been a technically driven sort of process by us in the past, and supporting Aminex with some of the subsurface decision making, and that's lent us through a successful, appraisal program, and 1.2 or 1.8, sorry, TCF roughly of gas in place, and it's also led them as operator and major owner in that project to a banked situation now, with the Zubair family coming in and funding them through a farm out structure. That has a very easy and identifiable see-through value for Solo's retained 25% interest. So importantly for us, that project is now effectively banked by the Zubairs, and we as the 25% non-operator partner in it can see a clear pathway to next year's work program, which we're excited about.
And that's just then a question of sitting back and waiting for the cash to come in?
Well, not quite that. There's still an appraisal to development decision to be made, but when you've got a big group like the Zubairs coming involved and in a country like Tanzania, where risk and political risk and investment risk is perceived, that really unlocks that value.
Yeah. What about other investments you've got simmering at the moment?
Probably a little bit more on the medium to long term play is our interest in Helium 1. We've got about 13.8% in a private company that owns one of the biggest and most prospective licences in Tanzania for helium. It appears to be a naturally occurring helium source. There's been surface seep samples done over a number of years. We're reinterpreting seismic at the moment and identifying 3 to 5 drill targets. Hopefully they'll be drilled early next year.
How's this fit in now with the structure and the targets of the company as it is, because there's been a lot of shifting around. Those that know Solo of old, yep. Neil Ritson's name is no longer on the list. You've got a new chairman, and of course you're new to the board as MD, although you've been on the board a while.
Indeed. Look, in the past, a lot of our decisions in building the portfolio have been technically driven, and we've been fortunate to have a lot of success. Most companies would be jealous of our exploration and appraisal success. The challenge and opportunity now is in commercialising those and monetising and demonstrating an investment return to shareholders. So the team I've compiled around me since sort of February last year now includes John Fitzpatrick and Alistair Ferguson as the new chairman, and these are gentlemen that have strong sort of investment banking, capital markets and oil and gas development commercialisation experience. Those guys, coupled with my skill set in corporate finance and capital markets, we believe is the best fit team to deliver shareholder return now.
Let's talk about shareholder return and also talk about your interest in this as well, because you have skin in the game.
Yep.
I know are you notifiable interest in terms of the share capital?
Correct. So all the board now are all shareholders, and some of them, to a degree of 3 or 4%. John Fitzpatrick, Alistair's got a couple of percent, and myself 1.5%. So we're aligned at a pricing point not much from where we are today, and that we're incentivised not only as I guess managers of the business, but part owners in the business too. Yeah,
a little bit of an uptick in shares today as a result of the news out today, which of course is obviously good news. But this doesn't represent the uptick we've seen recently in UCOG shares. We were talking at the top about you've bought shares in the company. This is a company that has large exposure to Horse Hill. Why hasn't that been seen in the Solo share price?
Look, that's something we grapple with as a board daily, and we get a lot of feedback from shareholders on it, and it's a frustration point for us. So all we can continue to do is deliver as effectively investment managers on behalf of our shareholders. Swapping out of a private company Horse Hill structure into a structure like UK Oil and Gas, who obviously benefits more from the news flow in Horse Hill than we do, is, we believe, smart investing, and hopefully our shareholders get the benefit of those decisions that we've made. Yeah,
where do you go from now then? Are you looking out for more investments? What's your plan?
Yeah, look, it's a phase of monetisation and actually demonstrating some scores on the board for our shareholders. Investment returns, we've done that here with Horse Hill. We've got another chance to demonstrate more returns through UK Oil and Gas. The play in Helium is a medium to long-term play, but is strategically significant on a world scale. And the Rovuma Basin, 25% interest. If we can replicate what Aminex have done, or better, we're sitting really well. So focus on monetising, or at least bringing through the true value of our underlying investments, and keep an eye out for opportunistically for the next step.
Yeah,
for sure.
Okay. Well, look, Dan, it's a pleasure to talk to you. Thanks indeed for coming in on the news this morning about that deal with UCOG and exiting the Horse Hill direct interest that the company has had and taking a further interest in UCOG. That is Solar Oil's Managing Director, Dan Mailing. Subscribe to IG for educational content, company insight, financial analysis and expert commentary.